Hey folks, we're here with Hannah Rogers with First Bank Mortgage. She has recently made a change and it was definitely for the better, so I'm excited for her new products and what she's up to. So we're going to talk about some of the changes that have happened in the mortgage world recently. I saw some Twitter info going crazy yesterday about the new Biden administration wanting to add fees to good borrowers. I don't really know much about that yet. Have you heard anything about that?
So on the mortgage side of things, we have not heard anything about that. Just a couple of questions about it yesterday. Like you saw, several people have asked about it, but we've not had any information come through for us on that.
So nothing to worry about just yet on that front.
Not just yet.
But there were some price changes recently. So tell us about
Yeah.
that. How are mortgage rates changing lately?
Yeah, so they have put into place what we call loan level pricing adjustments. So previously, you would receive the best interest rate at a 720 credit score or higher. So now that has changed, and you're going to get the best starting at 780, and that's going to tier down every 20 points. So that is one change, is we're looking for a higher credit score. Additionally, there are multiple factors now that are going to affect the interest rate. So someone who has lower debt to income ratios, for example, would get a better interest rate. So you may have a 680 in low debt to income ratios, and that could give you the best. So there's a lot of different factors.
Okay. So what is the difference if I have a 792 versus a 725?
So you may see about a quarter of a point to 0.375% potentially. Again, there's multiple factors that go into that. One of those we were discussing earlier is down payment, for example. So when you have 5 to 15% down, you're going to get a better interest rate than if you put 20% down, which really blows people's minds.
Seems crazy to me.
It does. I mean, like, you're putting more down, that should be a benefit. But the reasoning behind that is when you put down 20% down, you have just hit the minimum to remove mortgage insurance. So you're removing that third-party security and just putting the minimum to do so.
So the bank sees it as more risk because the mortgage insurance company is not there to help
Right.
out.
Yeah.
And yet you're still right at the threshold of 20. So if you
That's
can
right.
do 25%, you're better off. is
Yeah.
what you're saying.
So whenever you do 25%, you go back to where your rate was at the 5 to 15%.
Gotcha. So basically what you're telling me is I need to put 25% down. I need to have at least a 780 credit score, and I need to have no debt.
Yeah, there
And
you go.
if that works out, then I get the lowest rate possible,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, pretty much.
Cool.
Something else to consider, because even though the Biden thing, we haven't heard anything about that, there is some truth behind the fact that if you have a 680 credit score, you may get a better interest rate than if you have a 720 per se. And where that comes into play is, let's say you are 720 wanting to do a conventional loan, and you got a couple of different factors. Your interest rate may be higher than if you have 680 and you're going to go with an FHA loan, because a 680 on FHA is a pretty solid score. So sometimes the rates will be better.
That is something that I don't think people understand, is that a 30-year fixed rate is not the same if it's conventional, VA, or FHA.
That's exactly
Those
right.
rates often are very much different, and there are times when you may qualify for a conventional, but it's still better to go FHA. We recently did one that way.
Yeah. Well, and in saying that, part of the reason why now that's something that people are considering even more is because a month or so ago, FHA lowered their mortgage insurance. So where before you would get a lower interest rate on FHA, your mortgage insurance was probably cheaper on conventional, so it may still be in your better interest to take the higher rate. Now, with the lower mortgage insurance and the lower rate, we're seeing a lot more people choose to go with an FHA mortgage.
Yeah, I think it saved our buyer that recently bought a house that went from conventional to FHA. I think it saved him like $45 a month or $50 a month.
I believe so.
I mean, that probably fixes his Starbucks problem.
There you go.
Like he
There you go.
can drink his coffee at ease because he
That's
saved so
right.
much money every month. All right, so we're going to come back in a week or two when this whole new Biden administration program rolls out. Basically, the premise of it at this point is to discount folks who are not as high income or not as high net worth. I think that's the idea behind it, but as we know, there are always unintended consequences of regulation. So anyway, when we get more information about that and closer to May 1st, we will bring you back to explain what exactly is happening. Because I can't find it today, that's for sure.
Well, and just remember that sometimes the media pushes things out that are not actually
Are you saying
taking
then
effect.
there might be an ulterior motive to the media? Come
There
on
might
now.
be. There might be. But just because it's in print on media doesn't necessarily mean that it's something pushed into our world, at least yet.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's why we wanted to get the expert on here to get rid of the spin and just hear the real world answer. So
and at the
come
end
back
of the
in
day,
a couple weeks and tell us.
With any of these questions, the best thing to do is just contact your mortgage professional.
I think we need your contact info. Tell them how they get to you if they have questions.
Hannah Rogers at First Bank. My number is 423-315-2248. And then our website, super easy to remember, rogerslendingteam.com. Can't get much simpler than that.
Yeah, that's really good. All right. Thanks for coming in.
All right. Thanks, guys.